We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Yep, that is pretty much how we all feel after this 4-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Welcome to Dbacks Dispatch, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We're going to attempt to not be like super dark, depressive from this series because there were good parts. I will say there were good parts. It's just the way we play today. Everyone acts like this is like the worst series of all time. If it's your first time checking us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you get notified of every time we go live. Check us out on Twitter at Dbacks Dispatch. We have a Discord. The link of that is in the description below if you'd like to join us here. It was very depressing in there today. I am not going to lie. It was very depressing, very sad. And if you are an audio listener, you like listening to it via audio podcast, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Dbacks Dispatch. Brandon, Gabe, and Brett here. God damn this series. Game one. Game one was a goddamn roller coaster. Jesus freaking Christ. It was that first inning. Oh my God. Like, so frustrating. Gallen has a really tough first inning. Like, I think he threw like 25 pitches. And I'm like, oh, great. Another one where Gallen's only going to go 5 innings. And then we have to bring in our bullpen, and they get taxed for the entire series. Offense was like, nah, man, got your back. And then we were close for a little bit. And then Torrey does his Torrey thing he does so often. He makes a decision that I'm like, Torrey, for the most part, you're a good manager. But when you make decisions like this, it's really hard to say you are a good manager and that you're in the running for manager of the year. It's just so frustrating. So Zach ends up going 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks on 100 pitches. He has looked rough since he came back from his hamstring there at the end of June. Just all around, like his numbers, it doesn't matter. First time, second time, third time through the lineup. It's just hard to watch. It really is. It's being consistent here for at least the last 2 months that this is not the Zach Gallen that we need. We need the one we had against Boston. That's the one that we need. But apparently that one is the exception and not the rule. So that is a bummer. Gabe, what do you think the issue is? Is it mechanics? Is it still a lingering hamstring injury? Like, what do you think is why he continues to struggle here the last 2 months?
I still think it's the command of the fastball. Like, if he's not hitting the spots, like, I believe the first 3 hits were all off of fastball straight down the middle. Like, they were nowhere near competitive. And you could see, I believe it was Herrera. He was just setting up way outside or way inside, below him, whatever it was. And he just wasn't hitting the spot. So it just seems like he has zero command, especially with the fastball. Everything else, it's a little spotty, but it's decent enough. But especially the fastball. And I've said it before. If that fastball isn't working, then the rest of the pitches can't play off of it. Like, he has some very good pitches, but he just can't do much with them if the fastball isn't being located because, if he's throwing that thing 95, 96, like, and hitting the spots exactly where they need to be, then these hitters have to worry about, the cutter, the fastball, the curveball, and then occasionally the changeup. And as of right now, the batters just have to target the fastball because he's either going to miss wildly or miss it straight down the middle. So they can lay off, the curveballs when they come in. Like, all you got to do is just not swing at, anything that remotely resembles a curveball. So, yeah, I just think it's the fastball, and I don't know what the solution is here anymore. Like, he was hurt for a while, like for quite a while too. Like, we were running out of time for him and Merrill and Erod and Jamon to figure this out, and because if they don't, we have to rely on Fada and Nelson to get us to the playoffs.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind it, but Zach needs to be the one that leads us there. If he wants to get top 5 starting pitcher money, coming here soon. He needs to pitch better. Now, that might benefit us because we could still get him for a lot cheaper than we would have, but then we're probably talking about not making it to the World Series this year. So, Brett, you went and did this deep dive here with his numbers, and it makes me sick just looking at these numbers.
Yeah, there's not really Justice starts since coming off the IL. I mean, again, it's not like he's terrible. It's not like he's pitching like Jordan Montgomery bad. Like you said, the game against the Red Sox, there's still some starts here and there where he's looking like he's figuring it out. It's looking like he's kind of finding his way. But then I did the first time through the order, second time, and then third time. I could have gone the fourth time, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that's happened probably any amount this year, if many times. But even some of the numbers there, like, the third time through the order when he's actually getting there, and I did this part through the entire season. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did this part through, the same time span since June 29th. So third time he's got when he's, actually getting there, 15 innings against batters, 3.6 ERA, hitters are slashing 255, 339, 400, 739 OPS, which is, they're still hitting him harder. But it's crazier because he has a worse ERA. The second time through the lineup, he has a 5.33. Hitters are slashing 258 on the average, so a little bit up than the third time through. 324 on base, so they're getting on base less, and they're slugging even less. But he has, and it's not even like he has like that many more walks. So I don't know why he has a higher OPS the third time through, and the higher ERA. Like, it's just whatever it is. Maybe the first time through, he's letting too many guys get on base, like Gabe said, with the walks, like the command. When he has his fastball command and is actually in, I feel like it really helps play off with the rest of his pitches, his changeup, his cutter, his curveball, his slider. They rely on his fastball command, and I just, I think it's just not there enough from what we've seen, and that's where some days, I mean, it's going to be sports. You're going to have some days where, the best pitchers in the world, Randy Johnson wasn't always going to be, prime Randy Johnson. There's times where he'd get hit. Like, it's going to happen to everybody. We're just seeing it way more than we want from Gallen. And to Brandon's point, if Gallen wants that Boris money, if Gallen wants the money that, we were all expecting him to be making after his season, especially after halfway through last year when he was, named the NL All-Star starter, we're like, damn, we're going to have to give this guy $200+ million. He has not pitched anything like a starter who deserves $200+ million, whether it's been since he's come off the IL or just this year alone. So I don't know exactly what the issue is. I haven't done the full deep dive analysis. I think, like Gabe said, I think it is a big part of just the fastball command. But I don't know. I think especially with the Dodgers, because we can get into it in game 2, but even Merrill always gets hit hard by the Dodgers. I think there's just something about facing a divisional opponent where they're going to see you a little bit more often, or they might have more tape. They might, do a little bit more studying on you throughout the year because they're planning on facing him more. But I don't know, man. He's not the Zach Gallen that, we need him to be if we want this team to continue to stay where they are in the wild card race and make sure that they don't, fall out of it.
They would have to have a pretty epic collapse. I'm knocking on wood on my desk. Hey, I put on the right gear today, so you can blame Brett for the non-Dbacks apparel today.
Hey, my brother got this for me at Wrigley Field, and it looks exactly like the meme from a few years ago of the bear that's like, somebody touch my spaghetti. So it's very funny, but gotta rep the love that the brother was showing me because I love hats. So that's amazing.
I knew this game was going to be chaos. First pitch, Shohei rips a freaking line drive. Like, he didn't even. I mean, again, like Gabe said, it was a fastball, easy outer third, very hittable pitch, 114 off the bat, and then Freddie hits a homer to left side. I'm like, shh. Before most Dodger fans are probably even at the game, they're up 2-0. But the one thing that this offense, what they've done the last 2 months, they are no longer the lie down in Diamondbacks. They will answer. They will not give up until all 27 outs are done. So I think that's the one positive from this series we can take back, is that yes, we lost the series, but each game it really felt like they at least made an attempt and they tried to win the game, even though starting pitchers did not help out whatsoever. But the other major story from this was Torrey's abysmal bullpen decisions in this one. Like we said, Gallen only went 5. So he brought in Dylan Floro for the 6th, which I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. But after the first, Gallen really settled in. Like, he didn't really give up much outside of the second inning. So he did that. Floro was okay. They brought in Joe Mantiply, who he really dominated Shohei in this series, by the way. Like, you would think someone like Joe Mantiply, a lot of off speed, Shohei would just destroy that. But Joe made Shohei look stupid, which not a lot of people can say. So, and then Joe then came in in the 7th because Freddie Freeman was coming up, and then he brought in Paul Sewald. I don't understand this decision. This is a high leverage situation is anything within 2 runs late in the game. Like, anything where it is your heart is racing, every pitch matters. I do not agree with this decision. He gives up a 3-run homer to Will Smith. Now, it wasn't a bad pitch. Like, it wasn't a meatball, but it's a very hittable pitch because he only throws 92. It's just off the plate. It's a very hittable pitch. So the game goes from 6-5 to 9-5. Just like that. Like, that decision from Torrey. Like, I don't trust Sewald right now. Unless D-backs are up by like 5 or 6, I really do not feel comfortable bringing him in the game right now. I really don't. It really scares me because of his location. His command, since he kind of fell off, is the reason of his struggles. I don't know if it's a mechanics issue or it's a confidence issue, but it scares me because of how not his velocity is just not fast. So when he misses, it just gets crushed. It gets destroyed. So then we go in the 7th. We're now down 9-5. And then he keeps them in for the 8th. I don't know. I'm like, Torrey, what are you... Situations like this is what Gabe will say is punting the game away. It is. Like, he's already given up a 3-run homer. Like, what are we doing? Like, why is he still pitching in this game, Torrey? What do you... Like, the whole excuse when people ask him, well, I liked him in this matchup. A matchup is 1 to 2 guys. It is not 4, 5, 6 batters. That is just more of you being super loyal to these guys and you wanting them to get out of it. Gives up a home run to Shohei. And then Ginkgo comes in the 9th, and Corbin Carroll makes a fantastic snag there in the top of the 9th. And then we decided to make it interesting. D-backs offense came to play there in the 9th inning, made it interesting. Basically, our 2 hottest hitters of the last 2 months, Jake McCarthy and Eugenio Suarez. Suarez is just, he's on a roll right now. Like, leads all of Major League Baseball in runs driven in since July 1st. Like, it's like 53 in 53 games, I think it was, as of today, but they come up just short. So they end up losing 10-9. Gabe, floor is yours to just vent about these bullpen choices by Torrey.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, people, like, I would make memes and stuff and post them on Twitter, and people would would get into the comments. A bunch of nephews would be like, "Oh, well, I have to save these guys for blah blah blah. I have to save these guys from this." They said that every single day. I'm like, what the hell is Tori saving any of these guys for? These are four of the most important games of the year, and we didn't see Dave Roberts try to save the bullpen at any point in this series. Like the thing is, September call-ups are coming up. There's two guys extra that are coming in. We could have used Gilbert Diaz or Slade to a certain extent, even though he's a one pump chop and just gave it up again today. But it's just one of those things where over and over and over again, like I know it's one of those things where people will say like, "Oh, Torres damned if he does, damned if he doesn't," but it's like there's certain things in certain situations where you're like, okay, Paul Sewald is hot dog water in high leverage situations. Why do you put him in there when you have was it 2 men on and like 1 out and you're 65? That's when you use a guy like AJ Puck, who has been just incredible, or Ginkel or Thompson or hell Martinez, like whoever, literally anybody except Paul Sewald. He puts in Paul Sewald. Paul Sewald immediately gives up the game, and at that point you're like, God damn it, man! And then he puts him out again for the 8th, and you're like, what, now you're like, well, what's going on here? And I posted about it like Gingo had been warming up since like the 6th inning or something like that, or the 5th inning. He had been up there getting warmed up, and I'm like, put him in. Are you going to put him in at some point? He puts him in the 9th inning when they're already down, 10-5, and it's like, oh, so he is available then. Like, what the hell? Because yeah, if you look at the Twitter timeline, a lot of people were saying like, oh, well, Ginko pitched the other day, so he's not blah blah blah. I'm like, clearly he was available because they put him in, but they just put him in, to eat up the 9th inning. And it's just so frustrating because it wasn't just today. It was every single time. AJ Puck saw 1 inning of work.
Can't have that in a series as big as
Thompson
this.
saw 1 inning of work. You know who saw 3? It was Paul Sewald and Joe Mantiply, which Mantiply, he's the Shohei killer. So at least, that one's okay-ish. He seems to work out pretty okay against the Dodgers. But Floro, he kept putting in Floro. I'm like, why is Floro seeing so many innings? Not, Floro isn't terrible, but again, he's not a high leverage guy. Like we have 4 or 5 guys in the bullpen that can reliably get outs. And I know Ginko faltered in 1, which is fine. Eventually, it was going to happen, but for the most part, he has been, pretty damn solid. Puck has been incredible. It's like over and over and over again during this series, we saw the second somebody got into trouble. Roberts was out there and he pulled him right away. He brought in some other guy throwing, 98 and got these guys out. He wasn't putting in, his C or D guy out there. He was putting in the best guys he had available, and they got the job done. And I don't understand what the hell Torrey was waiting for. Like it's the same frustrations I would have with Monty Williams, where he wouldn't call timeouts or he would save his challenges. I'm like, oh, great job. You save your 2 challenges for the next game. Oh wait, they don't, roll over. You're stuck with that. And that's what Torrey has been doing this whole series. Yeah, like I said, 4 games, 20. Well, how many is it? 9 times 4 is 36. 36 innings. Your best relievers saw a combined like 5 innings. Meanwhile, every single starter went 5 or less innings. What the hell, man? Like I don't understand it. He gave these games away, and I didn't seem like he was trying to win a division at all. And it's just so frustrating. It's like his offense can't turn on a dime suddenly. Like I think from the 7th and onwards, they're batting like something like 8 or 900. They have like an 8 or 900 OPS after the 7th inning. So this team can perform late in games. And it seems like Torrey was just like, oh, well, we still have tomorrow to play. And I say that because, and people are like, oh, well, he's not, blah, blah, blah. Well, he is saying that because later on, I think I was yesterday, the other day, he was like, oh, I was budgeting J-Mart for 10 innings or for the 10th instead. I'm like,
yeah,
we didn't get to the 10th, jackass. Like I don't know. Like we can't keep budgeting for the playoffs or for the next game or for the next series. We have to win now. We're in September. We have about 23, 24 games left. We can't afford to keep budgeting, these sort of games because, hey, Torrey, if you want some time off for these relievers, what you could do? Win a division, then you get a bye. Like it's so frustrating, and it's just. I mean, I'm not a hater like certain bigger accounts on Twitter are about Torrey getting fired him, but these calls are so freaking questionable, man.
Yeah. I just it get like I'm not saying I'm a Torrey defender, but I'm not as harsh on him as a lot of people are when he mess up. But I will also praise most people that like to jump on him when he makes a mistake are silent when he makes a good decision. Like there was, I don't remember what game it was, but he did like 3 pinch hitters in 1 inning, and we won because of those decisions. No one said anything about how good that was, but when he has stuff like this, like people just like to jump on when things are more negative. They don't want to praise them when they do well because that doesn't get engagement. But
Yeah, but I will say, like in Torres' defense, when he does offensive switches, they're very good usually. Except when he substituted Kevin Newman out for Pavin for some reason. Like other than that one, for the most part, the offensive switches move. It's for me, it's more the bullpen usage, and it's like there's no reason why Paul Sewald should have seen more than like I don't know one bullpen session maybe.
after that home run to Smith, like get out of the inning, he should not have come back for the 8th. Because if he doesn't, maybe we don't give up a home run to Shohei, and that game goes into extras. So, Brett, floor is yours to vent about those bullpen lovely choices.
So yeah, it's. I think Torrey would have a little bit more leeway if, even looking back on the Mets series, the 2 relievers that were used in back-to-back days, obviously in the game 2 that they won, and then the Thursday game 3 that they lost, was Ryan Thompson and Justin Martinez. AJ Puck pitched 2/3 of an inning, and that was in, I believe, that was the final game on Thursday that they lost, that 3-2 game against the Mets. So he really wasn't used heavily. So like that's where I'm like, I don't understand why you couldn't use him instead of like, Sewald in that situation. Like it's a 1-run game. You're down by 1. I get you're down by a run. Maybe you want to use Puck for that, like, oh, you're up by a thing, you got to secure a lead. But to me, like, that's, and again, I'm not a manager. This is probably why, like, I'm just a guy on the internet who's not doing much, and I get to react to games and not be the one that's paid multi-million dollars to make the decisions. But there's times like that one where I'm like, dude, like, why wouldn't Puck be like, Puck can face righties and lefties. Like, you don't have to worry about him, full on going into a platoon mode where he can only face lefties and all that. But even the point you said about the Dodgers not punting, or the Dave Roberts not, like, I will say maybe it was because they already won the first 2 games of the series. Game 3, he definitely was leaving their pitcher out there to die. That was generally because, like, he didn't want to burn more of their bullpen. Like, if Torrey would have, if we would have seen somebody give up 8 runs in an inning and they were still left out there to go another 3, 4, 5, we probably would have had a brain aneurysm. I think that was just one of those where there was the comfort of the Dodgers already won the first 2, so they didn't really have to worry about needing to use their bullpen like a playoff game. It still doesn't excuse him for not using his better relievers, like you guys were saying. Like you need to treat this like it's a playoff series. I get you still have a whole nother month of baseball. You don't want to burn guys out, but there's not many other series that are going to be more important than this series and then the Padres series. Like you got to kind of have a little bit more urgency. And then even like you were saying, Gabe, about them having one of the better offenses in the 7th inning and later, across all Major League Baseball, they're 4th in baseball with a 758 OPS in the 7th inning and later, just behind the Padres at 3 with the 763, the Twins at 2, and then the Orioles at 1. So they're the 2nd best National League team in the 7th inning and later. They're the 4th best Major League team in the 7th inning and later. So this kind of series where, again, if that's where it doesn't make sense to where, okay, so like you said, Gabe, oh, if Ginkel wasn't available, cool, but you're going to use Ginkel when you're down 5 in the 9th. Why couldn't you use him instead of Paul Sewald? Like you need to stop doing this, oh, you're trying to get him in a situation that'll maybe get him confidence. I'm sorry. This isn't May. This isn't June. This isn't June. This isn't July. Like we're in September now. You can't be using games to try to get guys a confidence boost because, like, again, that's a part of a manager. You have to do that at times, but this is not the time to do it. This is the time where you have to win as many possible games, especially after the series lost today now, where we have a 3-game cushion on a wild card spot. We're 2.5 games up on the Braves, and I think the Mets are a game or a half game out behind the Braves. So again, that Mets series could look even worse depending on how things fall. So that's where again, I understand everything, like you said, Brandon. I'm in agreement with you. I'd not ever on the, even right now complaining about Tory. In no means am I like, oh, he needs to be out of here. We'd be better off with literally anybody else. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, it's just with how long he's been here, there's so many like same mistakes that it seems like he keeps making, to where you feel like at some point you would learn from it. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's just one of those where he's got to be maybe a little bit more of a, game manager and not a player manager. Instead of trying to get a guy's confidence, just worry about getting the actual win. But again, it's, hindsight's 2020. If Paul Sewald would have came in and he was actually clean, if Joe Mantiply didn't walk 2 batters and leave them on for Paul Sewald, that's just a solo shot maybe. And then even if he does still face Ohtani for some reason, that's another solo shot. Like, there's multiple ways to look about it. That's not fully on just like, oh, that's, all on him. But it is getting tiresome that there's, a few times where in game 1, especially, the bullpen was rested. There was guys you could have used instead of who he went to. And that's where I think, kind of the main point we're making is like, again, we're not saying Torey needs to be fired. We're not saying Torey's a terrible manager. It's just frustrating seeing some of these things happen at least once a series almost.
Yeah.
Just
real quick, want to say for everyone that's watching live on YouTube right now, if you have any questions that come up, post them in the chat, and we will get to them at the end of the show. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to bring up like the Ginkle point as well. Like, he put in Ginkle in the 9th inning, like literally just to finish off the game, and then he put him in the next day, and it's like you're putting him on back-to-back days and putting him in high leverage situations. Like, no die is going to falter a little bit. Like, either save him or don't. Like, I don't understand this whole thing. Like, I don't understand why you're going to use Ginkle on back-to-back nights, but you're not going to use someone like AJ Puck on back-to-back nights, or Thompson or whoever, literally any of these guys back-to-back nights, and then you do it just randomly. Like, I don't get it. Like, what frustrates me has always been the answers, especially to the media, because you want to know, okay, like, why not use Puck? And if he were to say, talk to Puck, he wasn't feeling well, he maybe was nursing, a minor injury, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Torian, he knows these guys better than we do. He knows when there's nursing minor injuries, like stuff that's not necessarily, for the, to go into the IL or anything like that, but it could be just a little bit of soreness or and stuff like that, where they might just need an extra day to rest and stuff. So that's okay, but he doesn't say that, and I don't know if he should. Or I don't know what the answer is there. But then the media just gives me softball questions, like the other day about Seawald, and he's just like, "Oh well, I know that Seawald is getting better, and I don't have any stats to prove it to you guys." And I'm like, "Yeah, like, of course you don't have any stats to prove it to anybody except who yourself, Seawald." Because Seawald said that he sucks. He said it himself. He knows he sucks right now, and like what Brett was saying earlier, like sometimes these guys need to do their jobs, and I believe that too. It's just like in this situation where Ginkle didn't do his job. They commanded him up to for him, and it was fine after that. But if Jamar doesn't do his job, and Torrey puts him in a safe situation, Jamar crabs the bed. Okay, that's on Jamar. That's not on Torrey. Torrey trusted him. He didn't do his job. If any of these other high leverage guys like Puck, Thompson, Ginkle, if they come in, they don't do their jobs. Okay, that's on them. That's their fault. If Cattell strikes out with, but the bases loaded, 2 outs, that's on Cattell. I'm not going to blame Torrey for that. Like, that's on these players. But if he, substitute Cattell out for, I want to bring it back an old friend, Jordan freaking, what's his name? Jordan. Oh man, I already forgot his name.
Josh Colmenter, Randall Delgado.
If he substitutes.
Oh, Jordan Luplow. Oh my God! Wow, what a pull! Yeah.
If he does that, then yeah, that's on Torrey. Obviously, like, this is a different situation, but if he does something like that, then that's when you can blame Torrey. And I think in these situations, for most of this series, pulling guys, not putting in guys who are, our A bullpen. I don't know, man. It's frustrating, and I need a drink.
Yeah, that was me most of the weekend. So let's go on to game 2. started so bad. Oh my Lord. Their 3 former MVPs, Shohei, Betts, and Freeman, all homer to start the game. Merrill has like pitched one good game against the Dodgers last postseason. Every other game he pitches against the Dodgers is just bad. And I'm like, oh great, we're starting this way again. Like this is going to be ugly. Nah, like I said, offense came to play. Corbin got it started with a inside the Parker lead off home run. Amazing job by Corbin. And it wasn't close. Like he went standing up. Like he's so fast. I believe it was like 14 point something seconds home to home, which is really impressive there for Corbin. Luis Guillermo makes another insane diving play. I would have said that was play of the game, but next batter happened. After that first inning, offense was didn't show up. Literally, they had one hit after the first inning. We lost 8-6. So again, another game that we could have had if just certain things changed a little bit. Like it was tied 6-6 in the ninth. J-Mart makes a really good pitch on his splitter. It doesn't fall as far as it probably should have. It was out of the strike zone. Tommy Inman just hit a bloop single and drove in two. Like that's really what it came down to. But for me, this loss is on the offense. You cannot go 8 innings and get one hit and expect to win. So, Gabe, thoughts on game 2?
Yeah, I guess it was just kind of a running theme throughout the series. Like they would have these explosive moments during certain innings, but for the most part, a lot of it was 2 men on and then ground out, double play, or strikeouts or pop ups. It was just so much. I don't even know. And outs on the bases again, like today, it was just a lot of outs on the bases, not getting caught stealing, getting caught off the bag, and it was just a frustrating game all around. Like I think 6 runs should be enough to win a game, but when you're playing against a team like the Dodgers, who are a very high-powered offense, you have to be able to scratch some more runs across, especially if the pitcher's giving you an opportunity to get those runs across, and they just didn't. They didn't execute. They weren't as patient, I think, maybe as sometimes they should have. There was a lot of first pitch swinging. They were giving the Dodgers free outs, and in these series, you can't afford to do that.
No, you really just. But the start of that, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me with this? Like, I was just like, right off the bat, I was just like, Jesus. I'm like, can we just like not start behind the 8 ball for once in this series? I mean, it did happen once in this series. It was game 3. But this was very frustrating. Like you can't expect to win with like one hit through 8 innings. Like I didn't realize it was that bad until they brought it up on the broadcast, and then I looked up, I'm like, oh my God, they're right. They're right.
You want to know what that one hit was? It was Lourdes Gurriel Jr.'s solo home run.
Yep.
That was the one hit they got. The only reason they got that other run is because of, I believe it was a Guillorme walk, and then they manufactured him over.
Yeah. I think, was that the one where it was like walk, sack, bunt, and then like 2 flyouts, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was in I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, so it was the 8th inning. Sorry, no, not the 8th inning. Oh, yeah, so it was the bottom of the 7th. Guillorme walked, Perdomo sacrifice bunt, wild pitch from Brent Honeywell, got him to 3rd, and then Corbin drove him in on a sac fly.
Just bad.
Yeah, so like, dude, it's like you said, Brandon, you can't get one hit. Like, again, I know the Dodgers have a good bullpen. I feel like it's yearly they do their kind of magic. They will take somebody and they'll make them insane. And this year's candidate is Brent Honeywell. They've made him just insane on his like 4th or 5th team of his career. He's been really solid in their bullpen. He had 2 innings, just kind of like neutralized the D-backs offense and like lulled them to a sleep for a while. but they're just, it's a little bit of a tip to the cap to them because they do have a really good bullpen. Like I do think that like they have a little bit more depth to the bullpen than we do. Obviously, I don't think they have like as many, like they could and should. We'll get them on the at the very end there later, a little teaser for you guys in the chat. He could obviously correct me, but I don't think the Dodgers bullpen necessarily has a guy like a Paul Sewald, and I don't think that they have a Jordan Montgomery who's a lefty who like is probably going to go out in there and give up 7 runs possibly. So, it is a little bit on them. It's still neutralizing the D-backs and doing their job. But yeah, dude, you can't have one hit against like the rest of the bullpen after chasing the starter like that and expect to win a baseball game.
Like, I was watching this. I'm like, again, this is another one that we could have had. And at this point, if we had won these 2, we'd be down by 2 games. But after this, we're now like we lost 2 games in the standing. Like, I won't say put a stake in them and they're done with getting the division title, but they're on life support. Like 6 games in like 24 days is very, very difficult. I mean, we've seen teams do it. We have seen collapses like this before. So I'm not saying it's not possible. I don't have a lot of faith in it. So at this point, I'm like, just get in. Just get into the playoffs because we saw what can happen last season. And this roster is better than last year. You just take 2 things. What we're doing at third base and DH. We were bottom 5 in DH OPS last season. And with this platoon of Randall Grichuk and Jock Peterson, like that alone gives me more confidence. It's just get in. Just get in. And I know a lot of people today aren't feeling very comfortable, in which I get it. We did not look very good in this series. I still feel we have plenty of room where we don't necessarily have to go like I think there's like 23 games. Like we don't need to go like 16-7. I think if we go 14-12, I think that's enough because we're at 77 wins. I think 90 is the number. Like 89, 90 wins. I feel like that's enough. I truly do. Like at this point, yes, a division title would be great, but just get in because everything changes in October.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attack. Sorry.
So, and you guys have any other thoughts on game 2? All right, moving on to game 3.
As fast as possible. So thank you.
Yeah, moving on to game 3. The one game where we get out in front finally. Offense goes crazy in the second inning. 8 runs in the second inning. Corbin continues his hot streak, which he continued into game 4. So he now has 41 straight games that he started that he reaches base. And he's now on a 12-game hit streak. Fott was okay. He wasn't as bad as Gallon and Kelly were, but he wasn't like ace of the staff. Like he did decent.
He looked like it after these 4 games, man. Like
right.
He looked like he would be it with what he put up compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, that's why I'm like it was something that we needed because a sweep would have been, oh my, Dodger fans would be clowning us more than they already are right now. We got another potential injury with Gurriel. It just looks like it's a strained calf, so it's probably just more of they're being cautious. So they're like, we don't want to risk anything further because of how shorthanded we are right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they even probably give him game 1 against the Giants off as well, unless he bounces back do you know any other one, Shug? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that he knows personally. So, but no, 8 runs, second inning. So it was really, really great to see that we at least got one game where we're like, yay, we actually did something in first and not having to come back. So we got a double by Grichuk. Suarez with a single, Newman with a single, Herrera with a single, Domo with a double, Carroll with a walk, Josh Bell with a single, and Randall Grichuk with a 3-run homer. So that inning was very single, double. Like it was very single to death, which it's not that I don't like home runs. I don't want them to rely on hitting homers to score runs. Like this team is predicated on chaos. So get on, make these teams make bad defensive plays. Next thing you know, you have a 4-run inning. So, yeah, but it was nice to at least have one game where we weren't stressed for the most of it. But if we want to talk about punting a game, Dave Roberts did that in this game, without a doubt. The bottom of the third. Takes out his doesn't take out Shohei, but he took out Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts. Like that to me is punting a game. Like literally removing guys that allow you to score is just giving up on the game. So, Gabe, thoughts on Game 3?
Well, I don't think he was punting. I think they all got bone spurs in their big toe, just like Kershaw, all at the same time. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was a good game, I guess, for the offense. Brandon fought, I think, pretty well, 5 2/3 and 10 strikeouts. The issue, I guess, was that he did get some guys. It took him way too long to get certain outs on certain guys. So I think he probably could have and should have been better. I think maybe we might get to it later, but about Corbin Barrows asking about the fact that he's moving on either side of the rubber a little too much. It seems like he's no longer focusing on being on the first base side. He's sometimes more towards the middle than anything. And I guess nobody has really asked the team about that yet. But they did bring it up on the broadcast. So maybe his last start, I believe, that he was more in the middle, moved to the first base side, and then started to hit his zone again. So I don't know if maybe something he's working with Brent Strom, that he wants him to, maybe try to avoid the big inning that he has. In this one, he didn't really have that much of a big inning, but he was still getting the outs and striking guys out, and he just looks so freaking nasty. And yeah, I mean, I guess good game, good offensive showing, gave us hope for at least a couple hours.
Yeah, it at least gave me hope that we could even up this series and still be at 4 games back. I'm like, we had Erod going, so I was feeling pretty good. The team before today was 4-0 in his starts so far this season. So I was like, all right, that's good. And then he had a 25 pitch first and a 25 pitch third. I'm like, oh, great. So that doesn't bode well. Brett, thoughts on our shellacking of the Dodgers at least once in this series?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, like you said, I think you put it a great way. It's nice to never have a super stressful game, especially on an opponent in a game like that where, I imagine the Dbacks fans in attendance, the ones that picked the right game to go to, were definitely enjoying themselves. But the Gabe Roberts taking out what was it, the 3 guys right there? I mean, maybe it's a punting, but I'm not gonna lie. Maybe he didn't mean it. I think it's genuinely him doing it to be like, okay, you know what? If we're gonna come back, we have other guys that can do it. I trust in them. Let's make sure that the main guys are gonna be fine. So I could kind of see, why he did it. But if anything, it felt a little bit like he's being like hey, we don't care about you guys. This doesn't mean anything to us. We already beat you twice. Go away. Go away. Shoot. It's like the older brother kind of letting his little brother win in a game of MLB The Show finally. And it's like, little brother's like, yeah, I did it. Let's go. And the brother's just like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm just going to beat your ass in the next one. Enjoy. It felt like that's how kind of Dave Roberts managed that a little bit, but it did feel good, man, to see the offense, especially, we know that the Dodgers equally have an explosive offense. So to see them kind of put their foot on the gas pedal and really just go as fast as they possibly could in that one inning to put up 8 was really good to see. And then obviously at the end, that I know there's a position player pitching at the end, so those last few runs kind of don't count in my eyes. But it's still good to see them bounce back after them kind of going mute for the last like 6 innings of game 2. And then Brandon Pfaadt having the one shining nugget in the pile of shit that was the Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitching this series. It was really nice. Like 17 whiffs. That one inning, I think it's in the 3rd inning, where he struck out Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman all in a row. That sweeper to Freddie Freeman, I made like an actual sound. Like I actually was watching on my TV, Roku TV, no free ads. I was watching on that and I saw that pitch and I was like, like genuinely made like that kind of sound because it was gross. So
it was inside to a lefty too. Like most of the time when you see those nasty sweepers, it's going away from them, not inside.
And again, I've said it before, but that's a great reason. Like, if you still don't understand tunneling, that's a great reason. Freddie Freeman probably thought that was going to be a front door sinker. So that's why he was swinging. And then the second that thing was going to hit him nearly in the knee, he was probably like, oh yeah, I guessed wrong. Yeah. It was nice to have a little bit of happiness, on this weekend that was, Labor Day baseball against the Dodgers.
So another thing I want to give a shout out to, if you missed the broadcast, go back, watch the top of the 2nd. Roku mic'd up Geraldo Perdomo. He had some zingers in there. It just shows how amazing of a personality Geraldo Perdomo is. It was funny. One of the questions that he asked him was like, can you hear my pitch comm? And they're like, no. He's like, good. And then he kind of made fun of what they did to the Dodgers last year. He had some really great digs just throughout that entire thing. So if you missed the game, see if you have MLB TV, just go and rewatch the top of the 2nd. Had some really great comedic stuff. Any other thoughts, fellas, for game 3?
Can we just act like the series ended there and we could end on a
nope. No, we have to talk game 4.
I'm good on game 3.
So game 4 started by Erod versus Jack Flaherty. Erod didn't look very good. Monty, though, coming out of the pen again, looked really good. For the most, he kept us in the game. Monty, which is very weird to say, that Jordan Montgomery pitching allowed the team a chance to win the game. And then Toy's like, let me bring in Slade Sakoni. Jesus freaking Christ. I can't. Slade is a 3-batter guy. Do not allow him to throw. I know he has length potential, but he struggles. I know that he's a former starter and he can give you innings. There's a reason why he's not a starter anymore, because he struggles after 4 or 5 batters. And what sucks about this is with today's loss, we end up losing the season series 7-6. So if a miracle happens and we finish tied with the Dodgers, they win the tiebreaker. So, yes, we are 6 games back. We're more like 7, because now any tie, they will end up getting it. Starting pitching in this, just on the season, has been awful. It's so weird to think about. Had you told me we have a starting rotation of Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, Jordan Montgomery, and Brandon Pfaadt, I'd be like, whew, that ERA is probably going to be pretty decent. Nope. Courtesy of AZ Snake Pit. Last time his starting pitching ERA was as high as 4.78 was in 2009. The Minnesota Twins went 4.58.
A team to have that high and make the playoffs at least
is not. Luckily, our offense is literally the best offense in baseball in terms of runs scored. So I think that kind of makes that stat not look as it would. If we had a middle of the league offense, we'd probably be more like 4 or 5 games over 500. So then we would be in a spot where playoffs may not be plausible. Starting pitchers this series, courteous of John Gambadoro of AZ Sports, 20 innings pitched, 31 hits, 15 earned runs, 7 walks, 19 strikeouts. 10 of those were from Brandon Pfaadt with a 6.75 ERA. That is atrocious. Like, that is absolutely awful. But again, positive from this series for me is Corbin continues to stay hot. Corbin is barreling up the baseball so well. Like, the fact that he had like 3 homers in the first like 80 games and he's approaching 20, not even 60 games later. Like, it took a while. He had a sophomore slump for sure, but Corbin Carroll is without a doubt back. And if he can continue to do this, we will make it into the playoffs, especially with our 3 probably most important players out in Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, and Gabriel Moreno. Gabe, what were your biggest takeaways from this series? And do you think this series is going to have a lasting impact on the rest of the season and a lasting impact if we face the Dodgers in the playoffs?
I would say no, mostly because of what you mentioned. Marte, Moreno, and Walker, there are our best like right-handed bats that we have, and that's really what we needed in this series were guys to hit right-handed, because we just don't have too many guys who can hit right-handed very well. And I know we've talked about how good Josh Bell has been, but when Walker comes back, he's immediately going to the bench. Just because so many just ground ball after ground ball, and at least Walker can barrel up the ball a little bit more. So it was unfortunate. It was frustrating. Some blame goes to Lavello in a couple of games, but overall, I think if healthy, I do think this team has a much better chance in October.
Yeah, like I just feel the way the team played in this series, they're all going to be very disappointed in themselves because they know they are better than this, especially Gallen, Kelly, and Erod. They know they're good pitchers, so they'll be like, I cannot wait to get back out there to play better. So I think they're going to put this entire thing behind them. I don't think they're going to struggle against the Giants. I think they're going to be extremely motivated to continue to work hard, because I think that's the one thing that this team is they don't sit on a bad game or a bad series very long. Like, they're like, okay, it's done. Look forward. So, Brett, what was your biggest takeaway, and are you worried about any lasting impacts from this series?
I don't know about. I think my biggest takeaway is still the maybe not underappreciated because we know how good he is, but just how valuable Gabriel Moreno's arm and the way he controls the run game is. Because genuinely, ever since he's been gone, we've thrown out 2 runners. There's been 2. ADC, I believe, threw out his like second, maybe even third, actually. But either way, like, Ohtani was running crazy. He had 3 stolen bases in the final game alone today. Like, the Dodgers were just genuinely going all over the base paths. I'll go back and find the stats on stolen bases as I try not to fumble my words as talking. But it definitely is a little bit concerning just seeing that, like, we literally can't get guys thrown out. Like, Ohtani had, 1 in the first game. Betts had 1. Hernandez, so they had 3 in the first. Let's see the second game. Let's see what they're sitting at here. In the second game, they had just 1, so there's 4 on the series. See, on Sunday, I don't think Sunday they really had much going anyway, so they couldn't really steal much. Yeah, Sunday they didn't actually have any stolen base, so what a surprise when you keep runners off base like you Brandon Pfaadt. And then obviously today, I think today was pretty bad. I think they had a total of, Ohtani had 3. Hernandez had another 1. Yeah, so basically Ohtani alone just stole all over us this series, and it's been a big issue that I feel like we talked about it before with ADC. Herrera still has the issue. Like, before, those were crucial outs where, like, when you're actually gunning them, That's the difference between nobody out and then a runner on second base to start an inning versus one out and then that batter in the batter's box is now having to work their way back on base. They're not getting themselves an easy RBI opportunity, and we've seen how things like that can snowball really quickly. Gabe even talked about it when we were going over the Mets series. The Dodgers did exactly what we were hoping that the D-backs would have done in that situation on Thursday in Game 3 against the Mets. You have a fast guy on first, you have a guy in third. It's like, just send him. Like, especially with the way stolen bases are now and all that, not many guys are going to chance throwing it to second base when a double steal, an errant throw, like, you have to be perfect. So they're just mostly going to let them just have second base. And the Dodgers were doing that. The Dodgers were making those decisions. They were being the more fundamentally sound baseball team. Even like Jake McCarthy, like, why are you stealing on 3-0 with Jock Peterson at the plate and nobody out? Like, what are you doing? Like, the Dodgers are just more fundamentally sound at times, and we're kind of beating the D-backs at their own game.
Yeah, I just a big missed opportunity for me from this series. So as we did tease earlier, we do have a special guest here that's gonna come on and just give his thoughts on the Dodgers, or he can clown me for 3 or 4 minutes. I really don't care. I'm here to bring on a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, Mr. Shug. Shug, how's it going, my man?
Oh, there you go. Oh, you don't show the names? You don't show our names?
I mean, we can. There you go. Yes, he was. Otani was definitely worth the money, without a doubt.
As I get served my dinner. And just like these bats in this series, I am wearing a tank top because it is hot in California. So my apologies for not being dressed to impress for you guys. I just want to shout you guys out, though. You guys are amazing. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Great job, all of you. Really, I'm a big fan, and I'm always listening and watching you guys. Even though I am a Dodgers fan, I still can support you guys because you guys are awesome. So kudos to you guys. But let's just talk about this series. I mean, it was a great series for us. Actually, no, I take that back. It was a great series for you guys because, to be honest with you, I'm a little worried about you guys. I'm not too happy about this because the one thing that doesn't go away in October is bats. And I'm a little worried because you guys have some bats, and for some reason, after I say that, Dodger bats kind of go away in October too, and it's kind of weird, and I'm a little worried. So, if anything, this series has me a little worried going into October. Right now we're in September, but going into October, this series has me a little worried because as a Dodger fan, we need to figure out. I know I heard you saying earlier, Brad and Gabe, about our pitching. We have a good bullpen, but the problem is sometimes they don't show up, and that worries me right now. And seeing you guys being able just to go bat for bat with the Dodgers has me worried. And a team like the Phillies, who could possibly do that, other teams out there, it should worry the Dodgers. I'm a little upset they didn't make a move on maybe a starting pitcher, or just decided, hey, we're just going to go with what we got. But it worries me. I know I was texting Brandon during the whole the game you guys won because all I needed was a Otani hit, and you couldn't get me one. And then the next day he goes out there and gets 2 hits, and it's like, come on, man, just can't give me 1 hit. But I really enjoyed this series as a Dodger fan, but again, a little worried about what I saw from my team. So that's where I kind of stand, listening to you guys. I love the breakdown that you guys give and how you break it down, especially from Gabe and Brett. Just awesome breakdowns. Make sure to follow these guys. It's just giving out a wealth of knowledge. I do have some question for you guys. Will Otani get the 50-50, and should he be the NL MVP? Because I know a lot of people are fighting that right now because he is a DH hitter. And
if you get 50-50, that's never been done. You have to, regardless if he's DH or not. I'm sorry. Like that is unworldly. Like, I know there'll be some riders that won't because they don't feel like a DH is deserving, but I still think he's going to get it. Especially if they finish with the best record in the National League. So I don't want to say it because it hurts, but as a baseball fan, I know how can you not give it to a guy that goes 50-50? Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah, I'll say.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Red's like Mason said, no, he shouldn't. Love it. That's fine.
Yeah, for me, I don't care about those 50-50 numbers or whatever. That literally means nothing. It's just a round number that baseball writers like to use. But I will say he does deserve it just because all around his stats are just incredible. And his competition is Lindor. Lindor, who's batting like 270 and has like an 830 OPS. Get the hell out of here. Like every time they mention him on MLB Network and they just talk about he's a good leader and the Mets are surging. Okay, name his numbers. Tell me what he's doing offensively. Nothing. I mean, he's good. He's a very good player, but he's not Ohtani. He's not providing the same value as Ohtani. Like, if he hits 50 bombs, that's damn near double what the hell that, Lindor is hitting. So, two totally different players, and there's truly no competition. It's just the media trying to, make it a little more interesting than it really should be.
I mean, if you could, every time someone does some sort of post about MVP, Mets fans in the comments are just like, Lindor. Like, look what the team has done since he has gone to the leadoff position. I'm like they aren't even in a playoff spot right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like it. It sucks to say as a D-backs fan, like if Ketel Marte was still healthy, screwed Garrett Stubbs, and he was still playing at the level he was, I think it would still be somewhat of a competition. But as just a baseball, a ball knower, like I saw somebody today was yelling at the D-backs game. There's a D-backs fan that was yelling overrated when he stepped in for his first hit, and literally the first hit today, 117 miles an hour off the bat, and Seaberth was like, yeah, that's the hardest hit ball at Chase Field by any player since like 2017. Like, the guy's really good. Like Gabe said, whether it's the 50-50, the counting stats and all that, what he's actually doing, the skill and all that. And even, yes, times it might seem like it's annoying that the MLB might be like glazing him, but genuinely, like, we're more annoyed by it because he's on a team we don't like. He deserves to be, pause, clip me out of context. The man deserves to be glazed the way the MLB is doing it, because we're literally seeing Babe Ruth just not with mustard stains on his jersey.
That's very true. Very true. He's not even pitching yet. And if he ever does get back to pitching, it's going to be crazy. I will say, if anything, he deserves the MVP because everybody has forgotten about this gambling scandal. Like, good Lord. I was talking to Brandon about it the other day. Again, that thing disappeared quicker than Kershaw in the playoffs. I mean, good God. Like, nobody talks about it. Like, we're like, hey. And I can clown the Dodgers because I'm a Dodgers fan. But I was like nobody's talking about it. And his interpreter's chilling, getting paid. He's like, I'll be good. I'm being taken care of for the rest of my life, because he can absolutely say that that was the fall guy. Like, good God, that was the fall guy. He said, yeah, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and he took it. So, I mean, kudos to him. I think as a Dodger fan, I like what he's doing. He's bringing a lot of positivity to the Dodgers, especially being so that we've literally choked harder than most people do on Dodger dogs in the playoffs, and it's I feel if we don't win it this year or next year, it's the biggest disappointment. And this brings me back to this series of I just didn't like what I saw. Like, we need to shore up some things before we get to the playoffs, because we might have Ohtani, we have Betts, we have Freeman. We had Freeman and Betts last year. Look what happened. Now we have Ohtani. He's not an everyday player. He's just a DH. So, it's kind of a weird situation. Like, yes, he brings a lot to the Dodgers, but if he's not pitching and he's just DHing, like, he can't get out there and he's only affecting the game on the offensive side, not on the defensive side, as he would if he was pitching and things like that. So I'm a little worried. Roberts has to get it done because, he's made many mistakes in the playoffs, and the Dodgers just, as a Dodgers fan, we can all say they've done some really dumb things in the playoffs that's cost them games. And so, I'm just wishing for the best come October. And
do you think if Roberts is gone? Do you think Roberts is gone if they get swept again?
If they get swept again, he needs to be gone. Like he does not need to be here anymore. If they get swept, like I'm looking at the pitching right now, and you're like, okay, Kershaw's hurt. He hurt his big toe. You got who can you name on the Dodgers other than is Gasly? I apologize, I'm the worst with names. But
He really is.
I'm the worst. Like I have trouble pronouncing Brett. Like it's just it's horrible.
Yamamoto.
Yeah, Glasgow. Like what happens in the playoffs? I think someone I don't know if I saw it. They said Robert's been given like a $1 billion rosters, and yet they always fail. I think management's going to look at that and say, look, we gave you Ohtani, like we gave you the best player, two-way, two on both sides of the ball player when he's healthy. You got to do something this year. And if they don't do it, if they don't get to the World Series and get swept, that maybe kind of saves his job. But if he doesn't make it to the World Series this year, I think he's gone. And they're going to bring a high profile coach in, which I don't even know is can they bring Pete Rose in or
I think most of the high profile coaches are like retired now.
Yeah, like are they going to go get Joe Torre out of retirement? I mean, maybe can they get Aaron Boone? I don't know. Like, is Tommy Lasorda still around? No, he passed. So like, I don't know. I don't know who you're going to get. So it's like you may be stuck with just Roberts for the moment. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so just want to say thanks for Shug for stopping by. He does do his own sports content. He does have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ShugKnight323. Go ahead and check it out. It's not Arizona sports, but he does cover sports. Does a really, really great job. Shug is a very close, good friend of mine. I've known the man for 4 or 5 years now, maybe a little bit more. So Shug is my guy. So Shug, thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate you guys. Really, like I said, if you guys are out there, make sure to watch these guys. Real good content, great content. I love your guys' content, and I'm always in the chat. Even though you guys are Arizona, I am all about your guys' channel. So I will support you through and through. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you guys. Have a great night, rest of the night, and stay safe, everybody out there.
Yeah. All right. We're going to just do one question in the chat very, very quickly. Show's gone a little bit long. It's from Justin Huddleston. Is Christian Walker coming back for the next road trip? Rumor is he's on the flight to San Francisco. So more than likely he is activated tomorrow. Cattell, I don't think any news has come out about how far away he is, but I mean, he did look good in the clips that we got where he was fielding on Saturday. So I think he is also good to go. So Gabe, any thoughts on Walker and for this episode in general?
Yeah, I just want to see these guys get healthy and be ready to go because I know this offense has been very good, but having these guys who have, 40 home run power and 100 RBI power, like we've needed them, especially with the way that this pitching has gone. So hopefully they can get back a lot sooner than later.
Brett?
Yes, having Walker back and then especially Marte, like if this team was doing so well without them for so long, but I feel like some of the gas in the tank could be either going a little bit low or, could be turning to bad gas, and bad gas travels fast in a small town. So refilled up with a little bit of Christian Walker. Sorry, Letterkenny quote. I had to. Refilled up with a little bit of, Christian Walker, Cattell Marte, and, use it to kind of, get them back into the momentum they had before they kind of stumbled a little bit these last 7 games.
Yeah, the team cannot lose this series against the Giants, and then Bubba, that final series against the Padres is now even more important. I want to say thank you for everyone for joining the episode today. I really didn't want to do this one. It's very difficult. It was very hard to talk this series. you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. Check us out on Twitter at Dbacks Dispatch. We got some good content over there. A lot of great quality memes by our man Gabe. Audio podcast listeners, check us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts at Dbacks Dispatch. We will see y'all next time.
Dbacks Dispatch. Yeah, bring the red Gabe, Josh on the floor. West Coast vibes, catch us on the air. Home running dogs, diamond gems we share. Brandon was a dad, Caesar man was a plan. Red race it down, tells it like it is, man. Gabs on fire, brings the heat every time. Josh on the mix, keep the beat so prime. I got the insight, 7 weeks ahead. Tune in, Dbacks Dispatch, this is it. Now we rolling. Dbacks Dispatch, yeah. Talk to Brandon, Gabe, this is Big Catch. Josh on the mix, he make the beats. West Coast vibe, got the G fucking the bad. The home Mac, the home Mac, the home Mac, home Mac. Dbacks Dispatch, we here to stay. Yeah, catch us every week, we bring the flavor to it. We got the home Mac, the home Mac, the home Mac, home Mac. Dbacks Dispatch, we here to stay. Catch us every week, we bring the flavor to it.